Internet customer, you get 1 line of unlimited mobile included for 1 year. Additional lines, just $30 each. Click, call, or visit a Spectrum store today.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Spectrum News Plus. Local stories, connecting communities. Streaming now on the Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.
I'm Chris Welch. Here's your Spectrum News in 90. China increased its retaliatory tariffs on U.S. imports to 125% Friday. The White House says the U.S. has not initiated trade negotiations yet with China. President Trump's 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs on other nations gives his administration just 3 months to strike up trade deals with dozens of countries.
More than 75 countries have now reached out to the Trump administration, eager to address the trade issues that have exploited America and hurt our workers in the process.
The National Transportation Safety Board is examining the wreckage from that fatal helicopter crash in the Hudson River. The crash killed 6 people, including the pilot and a family of tourists from Spain celebrating a child's birthday. Investigators are looking for several key pieces of the helicopter in the river.
Those include the main rotor, the main transmission, the roof structure, and the tail structure.
The Trump administration missed a deadline to comply with a federal judge's order to lay out steps on how it's working to return a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador. DOJ lawyers asked for more time to provide information on Kilmar Abrego Garcia's location and status. That's your Spectrum News in 90.
I'm meteorologist Nate Harrington. As we round out the week and head into the weekend, a storm system on the East Coast will be the main focal point. Other than that, a very quiet look at the forecast as we continue on through the weekend. A mix of heavy rain and snow on Saturday for the East Coast as record warmth for the west and the plains moves in. Temperatures, though, flip-flop in the east as we head through next week. We talk all about it in your forecast coming up.
China raises its retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods to 125%, escalating the trade war between the 2 economic superpowers. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Welch. Chinese leader Xi Jinping issuing a statement Friday saying his nation was, quote, not afraid to take action following President Trump's move to raise tariffs on Chinese goods to 145%. The White House remains optimistic China will make a trade deal. And as Spectrum's Kevin Fry explains from Washington, the Trump administration is working to strike up trade deals with other nations following a 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs.
A reprieve on Wall Street. The market ending the day in the green after a week of wild swings because of President Donald Trump's decision to impose sweeping tariffs on imports before then lifting some of them.
The phones have been ringing off the hook to make deals.
At the White House Friday, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt claimed the president's tactics are yielding results, with 15 countries putting new trade deal offers on the table. One country that does not appear to be at the table is China. Instead, tensions between the U.S. and its third largest trading partner are escalating. Overnight Thursday, China upped its taxes on imports from the U.S. to 125%, a response to Trump slapping a 145% tariff on China's goods. Economists warn the escalating conflict with China will force American consumers and businesses to pay more. More than 70% of the smartphones, laptops, toys, and video game consoles imported into the United States come from China. And on the export side, China has historically been a top destination for soybeans and other agriculture goods grown on U.S. farms.
Farmers, I think, are going to have a tough time finding new markets. It could be a whole planting season before they're able to, rearrange where they sell their goods.
The uncertainty is shaking the economic confidence of Americans. The University of Michigan reporting Friday that consumer sentiment dropped for the fourth consecutive month, falling 11% to its second lowest level since 1952. Still, on social media Friday, the president struck an upbeat tone, writing, "We are doing really well on our tariff policy. Very exciting for America and the world." Publicly, at least, China is not blinking. On Friday, a top Chinese official claimed their retaliatory tariffs are not just about defending his country's interest, but safeguarding the common interest of the international community. In Washington, Kevin Fry, Spectrum News.
Tempers flare in a federal courtroom after Trump administration lawyers failed to answer questions about the location of a Maryland man wrongly deported to a notorious prison in El Salvador. As national reporter Evan Kozlov reports, this is all despite the Supreme Court ordering the Trump administration to facilitate the man's return.
The thing that the government was asked to do was to bring him back, and that's what they need to really get started on now. No more games.
The legal team for Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia demanding the immediate return of the Maryland father of three, who the Trump administration wrongly deported to a mega prison in El Salvador last month, using wartime powers granted under an 18th century law. The Trump administration saying his removal was the result of an administrative error. On Thursday, the Supreme Court stepped in, ordering the administration to, quote, facilitate Abrego Garcia's return and provide updates to lower court judge Paul Oxinis on what steps are being taken to bring him home. But in a hearing before the judge on Friday, the government failed to provide basic information about his whereabouts. At one point, the judge said, "I'm asking a very simple question. Where is he?" The Justice Department lawyer responded, "I do not have that information provided to me." The judge then directed the Justice Department to provide daily updates on where Abrego Garcia is, what steps have been taken to secure his release, and the plan moving forward. Administration lawyers have argued that it would be unreasonable to share their plans, writing in part, "Foreign affairs cannot operate on judicial timelines." White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt pushed back on criticism that the administration is stonewalling the judge, pointing to a part of the Supreme Court ruling that advised Judge Zinnis to make decisions with, quote, due regard for the deference owed to the executive branch when it comes to foreign policy.
The Supreme Court made their ruling last night very clear that it's the administration's responsibility to facilitate the return, not to effectuate the return.
They've had plenty of time between the Supreme Court's order early yesterday evening and now. He should be here in the United States. It's a 5-hour flight.
And this wasn't the only big legal development today. In Louisiana, a separate federal judge ruled that the Trump administration can move forward with the removal of Columbia University student Mahmoud Khalil. The legal permanent resident was a prominent leader of the pro-Palestinian protests on campus, but has since been accused of being a supporter of Hamas by the U.S. government. Khalil's attorneys are expected to appeal this ruling. In Washington, I'm Evan Kozlov, Spectrum News.
New details and more questions about that deadly helicopter crash in the Hudson River Thursday. Divers were in the water again Friday as investigators search for pieces of the wreckage, and authorities provide more information on the family and the pilot who were killed. Our Philip Boudreau has more on what federal investigators are looking at right now.
I see like a helicopter disintegrate in midair, and then I heard a loud sound.
Avi Rakesh, like many living along the Hudson River, could only watch as a tourist helicopter plunged into the water, killing the pilot Sean Keith Johnson, along with Siemens CEO Agustin Escobar, his wife, and 3 children from Spain. FAA records show that the Bell Long Ranger model had an airworthiness certificate valid through 2029, and that federal authorities had previously investigated the company operating the helicopter for their involvement in 2 prior safety incidents, one in 2013, another in 2015. In an update on Friday, the National Transportation Safety Board says it's still too early to provide information on what led to this specific crash. Their main goal right now is to closely examine the wreckage.
Our team began pulling components and the engine off the wreckage and other components. Those include the main rotor, the main transmission, the roof structure, and the tail structure.
Officials have confirmed what brought Agustin Escobar and his family to New York. They say his daughter, Mercedes Escobar Camp Ruby, would have turned 9 today.
He was here for a business trip, arriving on Sunday, touring some Siemens entities in Pittsburgh, is what they told us. And then they extended the trip with the family arriving a couple days ago for the birthday portion of the trip.
All possibilities, from birds to drones to mechanical failures, will be examined closely by the FAA and the NTSB. I'm Phil Boudreau reporting.
Day trading, why one expert is betting big despite the volatile conditions. Coming up on Spectrum News.
We said we'd never break the 3-second rule. Never do that. And never become a minivan mom.
Hey, Chris.
As parents, we say never a lot, but never happens. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
Bring it to the party. Bring it to the top. Bring it to the party. Never gonna stop.
Enjoy, unwind, connect with Spectrum TV on Demand. From the latest hit movies you've been waiting to watch to your favorite comfort shows and more, all available instantly for you to stream. Create the all-around entertainment experience you've always wanted with Spectrum TV on Demand. Browse over 80,000 on-demand titles today.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
News at your weather on the ones. You notice the contrast in temperatures on Friday across the U.S. from east to west, much cooler out to the east. We start there first. A big trough of low pressure in the upper levels responsible for the cool air and also the showers and storms that some spots saw on Friday afternoon, and the active weather that we see on Saturday will be responsible for that as well. And then you notice a surge of very warm air from the southern plains through the upper Midwest into the desert Southwest. We're going to see some record-breaking temperatures possible on Saturday. More on that in a little bit. There's the storm system rolling across the East Coast from Friday night into Saturday. Heavy rain and, yes, the possibility of some snow showers from northeast Pennsylvania up into the New England states. Now, as we continue on through Saturday and into early Sunday, there will be that snowfall continuing, but we don't expect very heavy amounts past, say, Saturday mid-afternoon. I think most of what we see on Saturday night and Sunday will be fairly light, and this area of low pressure moves into the Canadian Maritimes by Sunday. So Saturday, let's talk about the snow. Yes, it's mid-April. We still have to talk about the chances of snow from, like we said, northeastern Pennsylvania into the New England states. Southern Maine, about an inch or so. Portland, Bangor, places like that. Bar Harbor, too. But we could see some very isolated spots in upstate New York, northeast Pennsylvania, Vermont, New Hampshire, that get 6 inches of snow. On the other side of the coin, we could be breaking records in the desert Southwest and the Southern Plains. Phoenix, 99 is the record, 101 is the forecast. For Saturday, Roswell, 94 the record, 96 the forecast. Very warm temperatures out in the west, while temperatures remain cool in the east. But we're going to start to see a temperature flip-flop by early next week. We'll talk a little bit more about that in your extended forecast. That comes up in just 10 minutes. Stay with us.
Here's what you need to know. China raises its retaliatory tariffs on U.S. imports to 125%, further escalating trade tensions between China and the U.S. China's president says they are, quote, not afraid. And all three major stock indexes ended in the green Friday after the White House signaled it is open to negotiating with China. The Dow jumped 600 points, wrapping up a volatile week. And Vatican officials say Pope Francis's condition continues to improve, requiring less oxygen. The Pope will not preside over Mass for Palm Sunday, and that's what you need to know. In Florida, the FAA and NTSB are investigating yet another deadly plane crash, this one happening in Boca Raton. Officials say the Cessna plane was heading for Tallahassee and crashed shortly after taking off. All three people on board were killed and a person was injured in a nearby car. Fire officials say the plane appeared to have pushed the car onto railroad tracks as it crashed. A judge hears more arguments pushing for a retrial of the convicted parents of a 2021 Michigan school shooter that killed 4 students. The judge, who presided over the involuntary manslaughter convictions of James and Jennifer Crumley, heard arguments for James Friday. She heard similar arguments from his wife's lawyers in January. The judge agrees prosecutors should have revealed agreements with 2 trial witnesses, but has not yet decided whether the Crumleys should get a new trial. The 2 are the first parents convicted in a U.S. school shooting. Well, despite the 90-day pause on most of President Trump's new tariffs, many Americans are still feeling uneasy about the U.S. stock market. But as Spectrum's Marcine Graham explains, some day traders are hoping to cash in despite the economic turmoil.
If the top 10 are all red, I know most likely the market is probably tanking.
Mercy Washington hasn't seen the stock market this erratic ever since she started day trading more than 5 years ago.
I typically wait for price to come back to.
Last week, the stock market went into a frenzy and took a nosedive after President Trump announced a series of tariffs.
There was another dip in 2022. Both times, NASDAQ, for example, it dipped over 30% in about like a matter of weeks. And that was due to like inflation and Fed rates and such things like this. But when it comes to volatility, I haven't seen anything like this in a while. Like, it's crazy. The momentum is insane.
Washington makes her livelihood by day trading on the NASDAQ stock market.
Exactly.
Instead of buying stocks for long-term investing, she's taken advantage of the daily stock changes. But with the tariff negotiations going back and forth, stocks are not fluctuating like they used to.
We only caught about 80 points in the market, took our profits and dipped.
Washington also depends on the market for her business, Have Mercy Trades, where she teaches day trading classes.
I know there's been a lot of news, like there's all these tariffs that have been imposed lately, and I'm just wondering, how is that impacting the market and our trading? Because I feel like I need to lower my risk. And also,
as the stock market continues reeling, Washington decided to teach her class the importance of lowering risk amount.
They're basically eating up any ways that we could get into something on both ends, whether it's buy or sell.
Exactly. So basically, your room for error is very tight right now.
Teaching her students how to make a buck despite the economic roller coaster. In Prosper, Marcine Graham, Spectrum News.
Love on the sideline, the touching reason a Boston Marathon runner will be racing to the medical tent before reaching the finish line. That's just ahead on Spectrum News.
For the millions of school-aged children across the country, the state of their schools can have a lasting impact on their health and well-being.
The majority of school districts aren't doing comprehensive regular water quality testing.
As CO2 levels rise in a space, cognitive function takes a direct decline.
We visit 2 school districts working to create safe and healthy environments for their students.
Watch Exploring Your Health, Curing Our Classrooms. Available on the Spectrum News app.
Look at this.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together. Oh, that was funny.
It's all about connecting with seamless connectivity. And internet customers get 1 mobile line included for 1 year with Spectrum.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger, and together we can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Visit feedingamerica.org/actnow.
It's your weather on the ones. We talked a little bit earlier about the possibility of record-breaking temperatures in the desert Southwest and the southern plains in the Midwest on Saturday. Notice the temperature contrast, though, once we head into the latter portion of the weekend on Sunday. Denver, I'll use this as an example. Friday, 24 degrees above average for the high. Saturday, 30 degrees above average. Sunday, just 11 degrees above average. So yes, warm temperatures out there, but numbers do start to come down, and that's generally what we're going to see over the next few days. A temperature flip-flop from west to east, and overall some mayhem on the East Coast as far as the temperatures go. No mayhem at Augusta National. Absolutely gorgeous weather for the last 2 rounds of the Masters. I'm a huge golf fan. I wish I was out there. You just do not get weather like this for the last 2 rounds very often. Gorgeous stuff. Temperatures in the mid to upper 60s both Saturday and Sunday. Sunshine, light winds. Should be perfect weather for the golfers and the patrons out there. So as we head through Sunday, big dome of high pressure in the midsection of the country. We're going to see storms rotate to the north of that ridge. On Monday, that ridge starts to break down and move off to the east. You're going to see a chance for some showers and maybe some rumbles of thunder as another front moves through on Monday across the East Coast and on Tuesday as well. And then you'll start to see some cooler air in the mix by the middle of the week. All over the place as far as the temperatures go on the eastern side of the country. Notice on Sunday, big warm up, big ridge in the Midwest. Temperatures approaching 90 degrees in Kansas City, and then the storms rotate around it. Cooler on the East Coast again, temperatures below average there, and some below average temperatures too, or at least some cooler numbers in the Intermountain West on Sunday. Then on Monday, we change things again. We go from cool on the East Coast to temperatures rising above average. How about 84 Atlanta, 81 in Raleigh, and then the cool down on the western side of the country. Notice the temperature contrast again on Sunday. Well above average in the midsection of the country, cooler than average in the east, cooler than average in the west. Then that warmer air starts to take over on Monday on the East Coast while we cool down in the Central Plains and the Midwest. Cooler air takes back over in the Great Lakes on Tuesday while a big warm up again in the west, and then we revert back to normal. Warm temperatures out west, cooler in the east.
Doctors have removed a pig kidney from an Alabama woman after a record 130 days. The woman had the organ removed and is back on dialysis after her body began rejecting it. Doctors say while that is disappointing, the duration of the gene-edited pig kidney shows promise for animal-to-human transplants. A new pig kidney study will begin this summer in an attempt to increase the supply of transplantable organs. All right, take a look at this. Police in Louisville, Kentucky had to remove an uninvited four-legged guest from a local YMCA this week. Body cam footage shows officers walking into the building, immediately greeted by the deer. An officer was able to walk behind it, helped it outside through the automatic doors. The Louisville Metro Police Department joking about the incident on social media, saying, quote, "To our surprise, the YMCA doesn't offer membership to deer." Every year, thousands of runners from all over the world gather in Massachusetts to participate in the Boston Marathon. Well, Spectrum's Dan Reedy caught up with one woman excited to make her debut at the 129th Marathon this year.
Lauren Murphy is preparing to run the Boston Marathon, and she's got her husband, Brian Rutger, by her side.
This is my third marathon in 6 months, but Brian is actually the one who got me into running during COVID.
It'll be a busy weekend for the couple leading up to Marathon Monday.
I'm in my final weeks of training. We're in the taper phase, so cutting down the mileage and cutting down the training, thank goodness. Brian decided to plan a trip to the Grand Canyon the weekend before the Boston Marathon, so we will be hiking the canyon the weekend before the Boston Marathon. We're flying in at midnight on Marathon Monday.
The two medical professionals both work for UMass Memorial Health, and as Murphy joins the thousands running into Boston, Recker will be working the UMass Mile 10 medical tent as his wife runs by.
She'll do great. She's got 3 under her belt in under 6 months, so at that point nothing can really hurt you. Hay's in the barn, as it were. So the work's been done, and she'll be fine.
It's really exciting too because our entire family, my side of the family and his, my in-laws will all be at Mile 10 at the tent. So I get to say hi to my husband and get to say hi to the in-laws and my parents and my aunt and uncle and some friends too, so it'll be nice.
This is the first year UMass has been given marathon bibs. Murphy and 3 others are fundraising and running for the UMass Memorial Deployable Medical Team.
They want to be able to put up a field hospital in the local Massachusetts area if needed within 12 hours of an emergency. This was kind of initially inspired by the DCU field hospital that they spun up during COVID, and then they've sort of progressed that plan from there. Even if there isn't an emergency, they'll still be working in the local area to improve emergency response.
And with the support of her coworkers, family, friends, and husband cheering her on, Murphy is hoping for a great run.
Hopefully the weather cooperates, and hopefully it's not raining, and hopefully it's not hot, and hopefully it's not cold.
Yeah, it'll be all smiles in Natick and all smiles on Boylston Street, right?
Yeah.
In Worcester, Dan Reedy, Spectrum News.
It is a reunion in Cleveland. Veteran quarterback Joe Flacco agreed to terms on a 1-year deal with the Browns on Friday. Flacco won the league's Comeback Player of the Year award in 2023 after leading an inspiring late-season surge that carried the Browns into the playoffs. The 40-year-old spent last season in Indianapolis, where he briefly took over the starting job. The Browns were in need of a quarterback, with Deshaun Watson potentially missing the entire season as he recovers from a ruptured Achilles suffered in January. I'm Chris Welch. Thank you for watching. Your Spectrum News in 90 is coming up right after this short break. Stay with us.
Friday nights, The Big Deal with Errol Lewis, where Spectrum News' local political journalists break down the most important issues shaping our nation.
Our journey towards improving mental health doesn't always present a clear path. Every Thursday on Your Mental Health, we listen to voices across our communities, discussing the challenges of everyday life and presenting accessible resources to guide us along the path to our well-being, providing hope and empowering choices that light the way to a healthier you.
Your Mental Health with Dr. Nicole Clark, Thursdays on Spectrum News Plus, available on all your favorite devices.
It's game time at the arena, and 20,000 fans are looking for a win. With an ultra-high-speed network and seamless Wi-Fi, fans can get in the door fast and share the game's best moments in real time. And with Spectrum Business committed to keeping them connected 100% of the time, they won't miss a second of the action. A secure, reliable connection from Spectrum Business means the fan experience is a guaranteed win.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Weather can be beautiful, inconvenient, and at times powerful. And it affects everything we do. At Spectrum News Plus, our weather experts update you with the information and the context you need so you can better plan your day. And we do it every 10 minutes. We're the calm in the storm. Weather on the Ones on Spectrum News Plus, exclusively on Spectrum. And get your weather anytime on the Spectrum News app. Spectrum News Plus. Local stories, connecting communities. Streaming now on the Spectrum